He's thrown an object at someone's head. It's like throwing a punch. It's violent conduct. He's used the ball as a weapon. Anthony Taylor should not have offered any advice. I would never, ever get involved in that situation.
What a weekend. 30 goals, late drama at the top and bottom of the Premier League table. And of course, refereeing controversy galore. Super Sunday brought 2 4-goal thrillers and 4 red cards, including both managers, as Nottingham Forest drew 2-2 at Brighton. Before the early season title showdown at the Etihad saw Pep Guardiola booting his chair in rage and Mikel Arteta wondering how the hell yet another of his players had been sent off for delaying a restart for just a second time in 3 game weeks. We're joined on episode 5 of The Whistleblower by SunSport columnist and former Premier League referee Mark Halsey, who is not scared of upsetting supporters, players, referees or the PGMOL. Mark just says it how it is, and that's exactly what fans have been crying out for. In this episode, we'll cover the Etihad drama, the chaos surrounding Morgan Gibbs-White sending off at Brighton, Tottenham keeper Vicario escaping a red despite playing volleyball halfway up the pitch, Man United's Lisandro Martinez only being booked despite a 1995-esque 2-footed tackle at Crystal Palace, and Crysencio Somerville being denied a penalty for West Ham despite Wesley Fofana yanking his arm back like he was playing tug of war. Mark, only one place to start this week, of course, the drama at the Etihad. Leandro Trossard's red card plus Arsenal's opening goal. First things first, though, how are you? What a weekend that was.
Yeah, good morning, Will. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with my team, QPR, obviously not getting 3 points at home. We just need a home win. We just can't find one at the moment. But other than that, it was what a pulsating weekend for in the Premier League. Great advert. Some of the games we've seen.
Look, we'll start Man City 2, Arsenal 2, but it was so much more than that. Michael Oliver, the referee, VAR, John Brooks. We'll go in chronological order, I think, Mark, right? So we'll start with the goal. Manchester City absolutely enraged. Michael Oliver calls Kyle Walker, the City captain, into the middle of the pitch for a chat after awarding Arsenal a free kick. He then allowed the quick free kick to be taken by Thomas Partey. The ball goes out wide. Walker's gesticulating furiously, sprints back out to try and get into position and shut Martinelli down. Martinelli cuts it back to Riccardo Calafiori, and what a scorcher that was. He curled into the top corner. Pep Guardiola absolutely fuming. Where'd you stand on this one?
Yeah, listen, look, I mean, the game of that magnitude, I mean, every game's a difficult game for a referee, and players don't help referees. And that game there was so much going on, and I thought, I generally felt Michael handled the game very well. He refereed that game very well. He had the respect to the players, the players respect his decision-making. And, of course, there's so much at stake. Players would do what they can to get what they can out of a referee. And that incident there, I think Michael would be a little bit disappointed with himself, because what he should have done was, obviously, yes, he's brought the captain in to speak to him. Any player that a referee brings in to speak to him, he has to allow the player to get back into position and set himself for the next phase of play. And I think when Michael looked back, I think the free kick was taken from the wrong place. And then, obviously, he didn't allow Kyle Walker to get back into position and set himself. Had he allowed Kyle Walker to get back and set himself, he then would have been able to deal with that quick free kick, or that free kick wouldn't have gone into that position. So, yeah, I think Michael, looking back on that instant, will think to himself, yes, I should have stopped the game. I should have slowed it down, let Kyle get back in, and then restart the game.
So what do you feel like it's fair to say that Arsenal got pretty lucky with that one then?
Yeah, listen, they did. They got away with it there. But listen, I mean, you look at Michael's overall performance, and it was a tough game, handled really well, in my opinion. Yeah,
well, look, Leandro Trossard, absolutely farcical scenes for Arsenal, particularly Mikel Arteta, who he was pulling his hair out. Whether he was pulling his hair out publicly or privately for the same reason, we're unsure. But only a couple of weeks ago, or 2 game weeks ago it was, we saw Declan Rice sent off for a second yellow card against Brighton for delaying a restart. They were up in arms then. You said on the Whistleblower that it was never a red card, or that we should never be seeing cards like that. Then Leandro Trossard, he's got a yellow card for tugging back Savinho. He then shoulder charges Bernardo Silva in the back when going for a header. The referee rightly gives a foul, and then Trossard boots the ball away another sort of 40-odd yards up the pitch after Michael Oliver's blown his whistle. I mean, There's just can be no arguments, surely.
Listen, I think referees, refereeing at that level have to have tolerance levels. And earlier on, I think in the first half, we saw Doku slightly kick the ball away. And on those sort of things, and I said, before with Declan Rice, that could have been managed a whole lot better. And obviously, the referee was wrong in law because the ball has to be stationary when you take a quick free kick. So Doku thought he was kicking the ball back to where he thought it should have been. And that's where you can sort of manage situations. But with Trossard, you cannot manage when a player's already on a yellow card, and rightly so, and then just kicks the ball 40, 50 yards away. The referee cannot manage that because everyone sees that. And Arsenal should have learned from the Rice situation.
Right.
Although I believe that he was dismissed incorrectly, but they still got to learn from that.
Yeah. Well,
and as I say, Michael had no choice. Once he blows his whistle and gives the free kick, and then Trossard kicks the ball in the manner that he does, and he clearly hears the whistle.
It's fair to say you thought the Trossard one was the correct decision.
Absolutely. Listen, when you whack the ball that far away, it gives the referee no choice. He cannot manage that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, the Doku one, lots of Arsenal fans up in arms about Doku, but he was kicking the ball back towards where the infringement took place, wasn't it? And you feel like that's more of a manageable one, like the Declan Rice one was?
Absolutely. And I said last week, and the Declan Rice one, I said Michael Oliver would manage those situations. Yeah. And Michael managed that situation because he could. It was just a little flick away. He thought he was kicking the ball back to where it was, and he managed it. Yeah. And that's what we want to see. But with Trossard, you cannot manage that. No. You cannot. Everyone sees it. Everyone sees he's kicked it 50, 60 yards.
Yeah, well, one other thing, Mark, just before we move on to the Nottingham Forest game, I don't know if you saw it afterwards, but as part of the goal celebrations, the late goal when John Stones' late equaliser, Erling Haaland was seen throwing the ball at Gabriel's head during the celebrations. It was obviously lost in amongst all of the chaos. Quite a funny one for football fans up and down the country. If you'd have seen that as a referee, or if Michael Oliver had seen that in real time, or maybe even VAR had picked it up, is there any sort of recourse or action they could have or maybe should have taken there?
Yeah. Well, you could argue it's violent conduct because it's like it's like he's throwing an object at someone's head. It's like throwing a punch at someone's head. So he can count themselves very lucky that Michael Oliver, you wouldn't see that, and that VAR didn't pick it up either. It'd be interesting to see if the FA take retrospective action over that incident.
Yeah, so
because it could be construed as violent conduct.
Yeah, because obviously it's different. People say, oh, it's just like heading the ball, but it's not, because if players are expected to head the ball, they can prepare.
That's right, but as I say, it's like just throwing a punch, but he's used the ball as a weapon, not his fist.
So you think there's would you be surprised, or you think there's a chance the FA could look at that?
Is it an act of violent conduct, or is it petulance?
Look, Morgan Gibbs-White then, Mark, red card at Nottingham Forest. Sorry, red card for Nottingham Forest at Brighton. 2-2 draw. Another brilliant game on Sunday. Rob Jones, the ref there. Anthony Taylor, the fourth official. And Peter Banks, the VAR. Morgan Gibbs-White pulls down Jorginho Rutter, Brighton's Jorginho Rutter, for his first yellow around the hour mark. Then a slide tackle, kind of sort of diagonally from behind on João Pedro on 83 minutes. Jones then signals immediately, doesn't give a foul, signals immediately that he got the ball. He's clearly doing the action with his hands, and that's what he's saying to the players. But interesting one here, because Anthony Taylor, who's fourth official, intervened over the radio headsets that they have, and said that Gibbs-White hadn't got the ball. He was then shown a second yellow and sent off. Gibbs-White was furious, just couldn't believe it. He was saying to Jones, "You said I got the ball." Nottingham Forest bench furious also. Nuno Espirito Santo, the manager, absolutely enraged. Him and Brighton boss Fabian Hertzler sent off. Just chaos again. What did you make of it?
Yeah, listen, obviously Anthony Taylor, full official in that game, coming off the back of the Bournemouth Chelsea game where he issued 14 yellows and obviously another yellow to one of the coaches. Listen, for me, a full official can come in and help a match referee, okay? They can come in and offer advice and help him. But on this situation, I thought Rob Jones was refereeing the game really well, to be fair. I did think he refereed the game well, because obviously live on TV, and I'm always watching referees' performances. And up to that point, I thought he got everything almost spot on. And a penalty was a clear penalty, no problem. And with this incident, I mean, when Morgan Gibbs-White is already on the yellow card, you run the risk when you slide in like you do, in a reckless manner. And what we've got to remember is, reckless is when a player acts with disregard to the danger or the consequences for an opponent and must be cautioned. Now, Rob Jones clearly signals a throw to Brighton, and he clearly says he's got the ball. Gestures to say he's clearly got the ball. Now, when a on-field referee does that, the fourth official should not, in my opinion, get involved, because I would never ever get involved in that situation once the referee has signalled a throw to Brighton and that Morgan Gibbs-White clearly played the ball.
Yeah.
So for me, Anthony Taylor should not have offered any advice to Rob Jones once he made his original decision.
Yeah.
Yes, come in before. If Rob Jones doesn't make those signals, then yes, come in. But once Rob Jones has made his mind up that Gibbs-White got the ball and it was a Brighton throw, Anthony Taylor should not have got involved.
No.
Not.
Well, one thing you always talk about, Mark, when we're talking about big VAR decisions, is not wanting to see the games re-refereed, right? It's clear and obvious errors. And I know it's not VAR, that Anthony Taylor was the fourth official rather than the VAR, so the same rules don't apply. But it's the same principle, is it not? And it's just all you've done there is seen the game re-refereed.
He has. He's come in. He's seen it differently because he's right in front of the technical. He's this side. But as I said, and that's what caused the mayhem in the technical area, because they all saw Rob Jones. They all saw what he'd done. Signalled for a throw and then gestured that he clearly got the ball. But I'm sorry, I would be offering Anthony Taylor some serious advice on that situation, and all referees with those situations. For me, he should not have come in. Not have come in once he's signalled.
Do we not want correct decisions, though, Mark? Do we not want correct decisions, though? If that's the correct decision, if it was a penalty, for example, and the linesman, the assistant referee had seen something the referee hadn't, the assistant referee would get involved then and help out.
But the referee
surely?
wouldn't signal. Yeah, well, you'd hope so, but we don't see that these days. With VAR, we don't see assistants getting involved anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're you're quite right. I mean, if we see if it's a penalty over in the assistant's quarter where he is and the referee doesn't see it, he won't signal. No. He won't do anything. No. The assistant will just put his flag up straight away and the referee will give the penalty. Yeah. But with this, the referee had already signalled a throw to Brighton and gestured he clearly got the ball. Yeah. Now, for me, as a full official, I would never, ever got involved in that situation. Talk about it after the game in the dressing room and say, listen, I think you got that wrong. I think it was a second yellow for a reckless challenge. But once he's gestured like that in front of the dugouts, you cannot come in like that and offer advice once the referee's made his decision.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit to me there like we're that's defending the referee's sort of ego or pride rather than actually coming to the correct decision. Because afterwards, if you say he says it to him afterwards in the dressing room, if you're the ref then, you're probably going, oh, well, thanks for telling me now. You could have told me out there.
But no, it's totally different because the way he gestured. Now, you could argue that he did get the ball. He did get the ball, but when doing so, was it in a reckless manner? Now, because you could, that's subjective. That's subjective. Yeah. So, Rob Jones's decision then was that Morgan Gibbs-White clearly got the ball because he could see from his position. Now, the argument is the subjectiveness is about that challenge. Yeah. Was it reckless in trying to play the ball? Yeah.
If you're applying the VAR principles
Rob Jones didn't think so.
No, exactly. And if you're applying the VAR principles here, you wouldn't say that was a clear and obvious error, would you? It's just that was his subjective call. No, you wouldn't.
And if you apply the VAR protocol, they wouldn't get involved in that situation.
No, quite.
So why is Anthony Taylor getting involved once Rob Jones has already made his decision?
Yeah. Quite. Yeah, and the the Match Centre tweeted out after the game that Nuno Espirito Santo and Hertzler were sent off for their unacceptable technical area behaviour following the incident. Let's move on, Mark. Spurs 3, Brentford 1. Referee John Brooks, VAR Alex Chilowitz. At 2-1 to Spurs in the first half. Great start to the game, really exciting first period in North London. But Spurs goalkeeper Vicario comes to collect Yigo Yarmouk cross. Vicario fumbles it right on the edge of the box, fumbles the catch, and then juggled it, appeared to start juggling it, playing volleyball as I billed it earlier. He handled the ball twice outside the box, right? Brentford up in arms. Christopher Ayer and Thomas Frank both given yellow cards. The commentators said that it wasn't denying a goal-scoring opportunity, so VAR won't be intervening. Lots of football fans, Mark, will be used to seeing incidents like that, and historically, you see a goalkeeper handball outside the box, it's a red card. What's changed there?
Yeah, listen, I was surprised that John Brooks never saw the incident. VAR was correct. VAR was correct not to get involved because, in my opinion, it wasn't denying a goal or an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. And what you've got to remember is in those situations, yes, once the goalkeeper leaves the penalty area, he becomes a normal outfield player. And yes, he did juggle the ball outside the box. And I was surprised that John Brooks didn't see it and give a free kick. Listen, on those situations, the criteria is that the distance between the offence and the goal, general direction of play, so the ball was outside the box going away from goal, likelihood of keeping or gaining control of the ball, and the location and number of defenders within that vicinity. So for me, denying a goal or an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, the criteria wasn't met.
God, do you think? If you're a Brentford fan, Mark,
but that's the law. That's law 12. Fouls of misconduct.
Oh yeah,
it's subjective. You may say he's denied a goal or an obvious goal.
I'm pretty sure Brentford fans are saying that. Mikael Damsgaard's waiting underneath to collect the ball.
You think it is? I don't think it is. So there's the subjectivity.
Yeah.
So VAR won't get involved in that situation. And for me, it should have been a free kick and a yellow card for a deliberate handball.
Yeah.
Because it didn't meet the criteria for a goal or denying a goal scoring opportunity.
Right, but you're saying there, the reason it wasn't that is because the referee, on-field referee, didn't give the decision in the first place.
Didn't see it as a handball. Yeah. He must have missed the old Coco the Clown bit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely bizarre. But look, I'm looking at that. I appreciate what you say about the subjective bit, but if I'm a Brentford fan or Mikael Damsgaard, I know, but I'm saying Mikael Damsgaard will hear that and say, well, listen, I was under there. The ball was going to fall to my feet if it wasn't for Vicario, and I'm sure he would have backed himself to put it in. Right, Manchester United 0, Crystal Palace 0. Last on match of the day, Mark. Bit of a snooze fest, but one of the more exciting parts of the game, Lisandro Martinez somehow escapes a red card for his two-footed jump tackle on Crystal Palace's Daichi Kamada. David Coote, the referee, Chris Kavanagh, the VAR. The Premier League Match Centre tweeted out that the referee issued a yellow card to Martinez for a second-half challenge on Kamada. VAR checked for a potential red and confirmed the on-field referee's call of no red card, deeming it was a reckless challenge as he made no contact with Kamada. One thing I want to ask you quickly, Mark. I've spoken to you for a few years now about big decisions. The law there was about players being in control of themselves in tackles. Has that wording changed now if fans are looking at that going, surely he wasn't in control with 2 feet off the ground? Yeah.
Listen, I thought he was fortunate. If you look at, we just said about reckless challenges now. Using excessive force is when a player sees a necessary use of force and or endangers the safety of an opponent and must be sent off. So did Martinez's challenge endanger the player's safety? Now you don't have to make contact to send the player off. What you have to think about was did that challenge endanger the player's safety?
Yeah. Do you think it did? Do you think it did?
Yeah, I think he was lucky that he never caught him. But that challenge coming in jump 2-footed did endanger the player's safety. Yeah. And had the referee shown a red card, that would not have been overturned by VAR. I can assure you.
Last one, Mark, this was my game at the weekend, London Stadium. West Ham absolutely abysmal against Chelsea, but one little period in the game where it looked like they might be giving themselves a fighting chance. Crescencio Somerville was definitely the best of a bad bunch for West Ham. He goes through on goal. The referee, Sam Barrett, and Stuart Atwell was the VAR in this game, but Somerville goes through on goal. Little 1-2 with Lucas Paqueta. Wesley Fofana clearly grabbing his arm and his wrist as he runs into the box. Somerville does go down easy or sort of like exaggerates the contact, but then in this day and age, players feel like they have to do that, so the referees spot the offence. No penalty awarded. VAR checked and stayed with the on-field decision, and this Premier League Match Centre tweet came up in the stadium because the pull wasn't for a sustained period. I don't know what the hell's that's about, because he was grabbing onto him for at least 3 seconds. What do you think?
I mean, at that stage of the game, West Ham being 2-0 down, it's a massive, massive decision, because that penalty is given, then that could put West Ham back in the game and a totally different complex on the game. Now, you know, Sam's a good young referee. He's learning his trade, and he was in a great position. And I mean, I was listening to the commentary, and Stuart Atwell come across and said it was fleeting. Fleeting? I know the laws of the game, and I went through the laws of the game, so I couldn't see the word fleeting in the laws of the game, and I couldn't see the word of sustained holding in the laws of the game. You know, holding is punishable by a free kick. If it's in the penalty area, it's punishable by a penalty kick. Now, when I watched that incident, I thought to myself straight, that's a penalty. That's a penalty. So, some of these match day tweets that come out from the match centre are just absolutely nonsense. Like they all mic'd up, we saw the other evening. It's just nonsense. It's all stage managed. And I don't understand. For me, that was a clear and obvious error. And I don't understand why Stuart Atwell didn't come in and recommend a review. But other than that, I don't understand how Sam didn't see it in real time, because he had a great view.
That was episode 5 of The Whistleblower with SunSport columnist and former Premier League referee Mark Halsey. Mark is not scared of upsetting fans, the PGMOL, referees, or anyone for that matter. He just says it how it is, which is exactly what supporters have been crying out for. Thanks for watching, and stay with Sun Football across all of our social media channels. Make sure you subscribe to SunSport on YouTube to make sure you never miss an episode of The Whistleblower.